Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. And we have Staden with us today, who is the Director RTM for EMEA, and Thomas is as the Marketing and Product Manager from RF Elements. Okay, so next slide, please. So agenda today, we've got a very quick Purdicom overview. We won't spend a huge amount of time on that, obviously, because I think the majority of you know who we are and what we do. A quick introduction to Cambium Networks. We're going to have an introduction to RF Elements. We've got a cheat sheet as well, so we can run through some of the compatible products. And just a little piece about how Cambium Networks and RF Elements come together. We've got some success stories. We also have some exclusive promotions. And then, as I said, we'll run through the question and answers as well as we go. Next slide, please. So Purdicom, as I say, you know all about us, I'm sure. But yeah, we continue to grow. We've had a very successful year this year. We are a multi-award winning distributor, privately owned. We invest a hell of a lot back into the business as well as into our people, which is recognised by the Gold Investors in People. And obviously we're certified ISO, a big range of value-added services as well to support you and your business growth. So obviously today we're going to be looking at Cambium Networks and RF Elements. But the majority of you will also be aware that there's a whole range of different vendors, most of which are complementary technologies. So yeah, also speak to us about Siklu, Certa, WatchGuard. And if any of these technologies are something you want to find out more about, please do speak to your account manager. Next slide. So value add. So yeah, training, technical support. I'm sure a lot of you already some of the services of Alex Claro and the team. We can help you with the logistics, with finance. You have excellent support, as always, through your account manager and also support from the vendor side as well. And marketing. So we can support you with any of the marketing activities that you need. So it can be from kind of helping you with emails, data, helping you with together kind of different campaigns. Do speak to us if if there's any marketing needs, or likewise any of the other different services we have there as well.
So a quick introduction to Cambium Networks. So Cambium Networks, as a company, we're about 10 years old. We came out of a Motorola in a management buyout as Motorola split into a few different companies about 10 years. Companies listed on the NASDAQ, and we listed around 2 years ago. So if anyone wants to see how the company's doing, and from our last report, we're doing very well. You can see that as our public publicly traded accounts are put on there. Worldwide, we have around about 800 people. We have 3 major development hubs with many satellite hubs around the world, one of which is located in the previous Motorola Development Center in Ashburton in Devon. And we do have many sales teams around the world, and very proud to be part of the EMEA and UK sales team, for which we have 4 people directly for selling in the UK, as well as people like Brian Hall and myself who manage some of the bigger scales. And from a company perspective, we follow some of the latest technologies. So while we do fixed broadband in point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, we also do meshing with Facebook, where we're a Facebook Telegraph partner for 60 gigahertz. And we have a very wide range of enterprise networking, Wi-Fi and switches. All of that comes together with a very fully functional and CM Maestro management platform, which has a free tier and a paid for tier. So lots of products. Probably one of the biggest So our relationship with Purdicom, and they had a slightly different name 15 years ago when I started working with them. It is long, and we're one of their longest established trading partners. They're one of our master distributors within EMEA. And the one thing that I really like about Purdicom is not just their investment in their people, but their investment in their relationship with their vendors. So all of the people in Purdicom are trained. They are a training academy for us. So you can go along to Purdicom and be trained by accredited trainers on our portfolio. And they take the whole of the portfolio, which we sell within the area, and can train that. And of course, as a long-standing trusted partner, we and them work together with some exclusive offers. Next slide, please, Thomas. So a couple of things to talk about, and I'm just going to cover this very briefly. Working with Cambium should be simple. We have account managers, depending on where you want to touch, who is our ICANN, as we call them, our channel partner. He can get you any information on any of these things, like the service provider toolbox, which gives you the ability to look at many of the marketing and partner tools that we've got there. And we have a connected partner program, which gets you, as it shows here, some promotions, discounts, a wealth of Cambium co-branded marketing tools, and resources such as case studies and things like total cost of ownership tools. Next slide, please. When we were looking at this slide, I could have put maybe 15 or 20 products on here that we actually work with RF Elements on as a partner. So, for example, we have the EPMP 3000L access point, but we also have the 2000 and the 1000 and the 100. Our latest EPMP product, the 400C, is obviously compatible with one of their modules. And we have things like the PMP 450i and the PMP 450 micropop. These can all be used with RF Elements directly, and can come with the benefits of some of the RF Elements products, which Thomas is going to talk about very shortly. So as a partnership, and I've been in lots of conversations with RF Elements over the years. If you look at some of the posts, you will see multiple deployments where we have been used with RF Elements, and it gives us that little bit extra protection with co-located interference with other devices there. And I think with that in mind, if we could have the next slide, I will pass it over to Thomas from RF Elements. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. So yes, as mentioned at the beginning, I'll tell you something about RF Elements and why should you actually care. So we're a wireless networking hardware manufacturer from Central Europe. We also have about 10 years, going since 2010. And our job and main mission is to help WISPs thrive. And not only trying to fulfill their wishes, but actually help them solve the problems they have. And that's what we're actually really good at. And there is a great deal of a difference between, just distributing products and being a great distributor. And this is why we're actually delighted and very happy and looking forward to our cooperation with Purdicom, because obviously having all those awards and good feedback from the customers, they're probably doing something right. And again, there's absolutely a great difference between just doing something and doing it in a great way. And yeah, our partnership with Purdicom, I'm sure, will bring a lot of benefit to each of us, and obviously also to you, the WISPs, who are actually using products we're all trying to sell. So at RF Element, our main focus is on innovation. And we try to help and do help the WISPs solve their problems through our noise rejecting technology of our portfolio of horn antennas, which have the near zero loss twistport ecosystem, which can save you as much as half of the power the radio is delivering to the antenna because of the absence of the coaxial cables, which you don't need to use when you're using twistport antennas. And combined, these two things combined together with the great and wide portfolio of our horn antenna sectors enable incredible and unlimited scalability of wireless networks. Simply because if you can keep adding more and more sectors without degrading the infrastructure that's already in place, you have a perfect recipe for unlimited scalability of your network. So the biggest challenge of unlicensed and actually even licensed frequency bands is the spectrum, and namely its scarcity, right? It's all divided, it's all boxed into different fields. Some are licensed, some are unlicensed, but the spectrographs such as these are especially common in the 5 GHz unlicensed band. And obviously they are showing us how the spectrum can be cluttered. And that's a huge problem, because if there is so much noise, then nobody can actually do anything in the end, because in the limit, there is absolutely nothing to do, just observe the noise. And so what is the core issue, or what's the cause of these problems with noise? The problem is the gear, namely the antennas and their huge side lobes. Yeah, because the side lobes, besides the main lobe, which is obviously desirable, the side lobes are smaller lobes that propagate and receive the signal from and to unwanted directions. And that's something, or the main cause, the root of the problems with noise in unlicensed spectra. And here you see how the noise is generated. So these are 4 images of the near field radiation of antennas typically used in the WISP industry. And you can see them when, this view is when you're looking at these antennas from the top. Yeah, so looking up, that's the direction we want the antenna to radiate. And obviously all of these antennas have a main lobe, which is absolutely desirable. But unfortunately, because of the physics of these antennas, they also radiate in literally every other direction as well. Albeit weaker, of course, because the main lobe is the strongest, but nevertheless, even these weaker side lobes are a huge problem. And in the limit, especially felt the fastest in the unlicensed spectra, is that these side lobes do propagate the signal in all directions, causing all the problems with noise and those spectral graphs we've seen. On the other hand, this is how noise rejecting antenna radiation looks like. So these are the near field radiation patterns of RF Elements antennas, and you can see there is the main lobe, pointing upwards. The energy is propagating in the direction of the main lobe, but nowhere else, right? And that's the ideal situation when it comes to antennas. They only radiate the signal to and receive it from the direction they're pointed at, and nowhere else. And we have 12 different horn antenna sectors. Yeah, so no more, you need to rely on that 90-degree or 60-degree sector to be slapped on every and any scenario of the wireless network coverage you're looking at. Yeah, we have the set of 7 symmetrical horns on the top line, with the gains from 9.6 to 18.4 dBi, and the beam width changing with 10-degree steps from 90 to 30. And on the bottom, you have the asymmetrical horns. which have the basic shape of the radiation pattern as the traditional patch array sectors, but still somewhat wider in the elevation plane, which is actually their advantage. Yeah, and they're used in a little bit different scenarios than the symmetrical horns, but nevertheless. Okay, then at the bottom right corner, there's the ultra horn, our high gain horn antenna, which also actually can be used as a sector or a point-to-point antenna. It's really up to the user. Yeah, so now you have 13 different tools to really optimize the coverage of your networks. And what our technology lets you do is to actually go from the situation which you see on the left side, yeah, where three traditional patch array sectors are in the close vicinity of each other. And because of those side lobes, they have they interact, yeah, and cause each other harm, which eventually results into degrading network throughput. And of course, this is also changing as you change the channel. Yeah, it's not only making the noise appear, but also, you know, hoping that you might mitigate it by switching to different channel. Well, the result might not be what you expected because of the frequency dependence of the radiation patterns of traditional patch array antennas. And on the right side, you see the situation with horns. So because our horn antennas do not have any side lobes, so despite that they are installed on one side, they're not interacting with each other. Yes, and because of that, they don't receive any noise from the surroundings, meaning that they can really leverage near maximum throughput of what the radio that's connected to them can handle. And obviously, you can also stack much more of these antennas on one side or in the close vicinity to each other, while being sure that each of these sectors really works at the edge of what's possible. And here you see some live examples of that. Yeah, so it's not a joke. We really mean it when we say that you can install many of these sectors on one site. And these photos actually from our customers are a clear proof of that. So now we'll tell you something about how our antennas can work and really thrive with Cambium Networks radios. So first, I want to emphasize that actually any and every radio we will show in the following slides works with every twistport antenna we have. So we have two adapters, the TPA EPMP and the TP adapter E2K. And each of these works with two radios. So obviously the first one works with the EPMP 1000 and 300 CSM and 3000 L access point. So it's one adapter, yeah, that works with four different radios. If we count that the EPMP 1000 also has the access point and the client station version. And the same goes for the adapter for EPMP 2000. It works with the access point, EPMP 2000, and also the new Force 400C radio. So there are radios, obviously, whose form factor does not allow us to make an adapter that would be, let's say, reasonable to use and manufacture. But for these cases, we have the twistport adapter with SMA connectors. And those, obviously, with the corresponding cables can be connected to any radios with the coaxial output, such as the PMP 670, PTP 700, PMP 450i, and for PTP 450i, and obviously also the 4-channel EPMP 3000. So other than that, some operators might prefer the classical and connector interface. And for these cases, we have our carrier class horn antennas. And these are exactly the same antennas in terms of the RF performance as you saw before, except they have that red red part where the two end connectors can be connected to any radios out there. And here you see examples of exactly that. Yeah, so on the left, you see the ultra horn connected to the PTP 450, I believe. And in the middle, some sectorial coverage antenna. Obviously, that's the 60-degree asymmetrical horn. And then on the right side, you have first generation of our symmetrical horns for high density areas. Or you can use our antennas also with the EPMP 3000. Now on the left, you see it used with the symmetrical horn with the SMA adapter, and on the right you see the same setup except with our carrier class horns, where you of course do not need any adapter. And so what are the effects of using Cambium radios with RF elements together? So these effects are numbered because they are connected by cause and effect. So first, that combination lets you plan your network optimally, because the radios are high quality, the antennas don't receive any noise. You have many different tools to choose from in terms of antennas and radios as well, meaning that you really can plan your networks in the way that does not limit you to a few tools that you might have been used to before. And because our antennas don't receive the noise from the surroundings, what you see, the first effect of using the RF elements horns will be that the noise floor you'll see in the spectral graphs will be smaller. Yeah, which in turn, of course, will increase the signal to noise ratio the RF radio will be working with. And as a result of that, the radio can switch to the higher MCS rates and eventually showing itself as higher aggregate throughput of your network. And not only that, the horns also are having very stable performance with changing frequency. Their maximum gain and the rest of the radiation pattern actually don't change at all as you switch the channel or polarization of the antenna. So that will result into really long-term network stability, and in turn the long-term reliability of the network, which means that for you as operators of the networks, you need to do a lot less service runs compared to the situation when you use the traditional patch array sectors, which are susceptible to any and every new device added in their vicinity. Because horns are not sensitive to that, the network simply performs in a very stable manner. And in the end, of course, also your customers will appreciate that, and you will have less calls from customers complaining about fluctuating internet speed or whatever else. And in the end, for you as the network operator, it means that you suddenly get a lot more space, a lot more time and space to breathe and actually start thinking about how you can grow your business if you could not until now. Well, I didn't mean to say you could not grow it at all, but definitely with horns, you will have a lot more space to think about the future. And let me now show you a list of the radios that our antennas are compatible with from the Cambium portfolio. So as Simon mentioned, it's pretty much most of the radios in the 5 gigahertz frequency range, because our antennas so far, only the horn sectors anyway, work in the 5 gigahertz unlicensed band. And as far as the twistPort version goes, here you see the list of the radios that you can connect to our antennas with the corresponding twistPort adapter. And on the bottom, you see the rest of the end connectorized radios that will work directly with our carrier class antennas without any additional adapters, and also the EPMP 3000. All right, And now we should be looking at a few success stories where RF Elements and Cambium Networks products were used together. All right, Simon, do you want to chime in on this one, or should I keep going?
I'll let you keep going if that's okay.
Sure, that's fine by me. So we will not show you any numbers because in particular, we do not really keep the track of the performance before and after. But if you really insist on seeing the numbers and the spectrographs, I encourage you to actually check the WISP Talk, which is a Facebook discussion group, or RF Elements English Facebook discussion group, where you can just slide through the posts that were posted already, and you'll see, you might even find the numbers you're looking for. But here I'll just describe these examples you see here. So on the left, you see the Cambium EPMB 3000 access point used with our 90-degree asymmetrical horn sectors. And these antennas are suitable mainly for areas with a lower customer density simply because of their wider beam width and higher gain compared to the symmetrical antenna series. But nevertheless, I mean, even in the rural or suburban areas, such as the one we can see in the image, the noise can be quite damaging to the performance of the whole network. And despite it, you might have as good of a radio, as high of a quality product as the Cambium EPMP 3000. The antenna actually supplements it, because any and every radio frequency link, can be looked at as a sort of a chain. Yeah, it's only as strong as the weakest link in the whole chain. So you really want to make sure that each link is as good as possible. And with this combination of RF Elements and Cambium, you can really do a lot. So in the middle, there is the 30-degree asymmetrical horn with the Cambium EPMP 2000. And thanks to its high gain, this combo can really cover areas far away from the site. And on the right side, you see 4 90-degree carrier class asymmetrical horns, and these are also installs that are suitable for sort of a less or smaller density of the customers than with the symmetrical horns, while really delivering the maximum or near maximum throughput these radios can handle. So, and it's good to understand that actually every wireless link or the maximum throughput you can achieve is really limited by the radio. But of course, at the same time, the antenna also influences this greatly, as we explained previously. So it's definitely to always look at all parts of the RF link, not just the radio, but as well the antennas. And here you see a few more examples, namely with the Cambium EPMP 3000, which provides you these really high power and wide frequency channels that let you really leverage the spectrum as well as possible. In this case, with the 60-degree asymmetrical horns from RF Element with the SMA adapter we've shown before. And here we show one really interesting example of actually sectorial coverage with ultrahorn. It's an antenna with 11 degrees beam width. So you might think that, well, this is a point-to-point antenna, but as any other tool, it's really up to you how you use it. An ultrahorn can be a great point-to-point, but obviously also point-to-multipoint antenna. And here, this customer of ours, Bayan Parvar, sorry for butchering your name, actually explains that he's able to compete, actually outperform what the fiber can offer, or the companies that are running their networks on fiber can offer, right? Simply because the horns and especially ultra horn. It has 99% beam efficiency, which means that only 1% of the signal this antenna radiates is going into the side lobes, which is almost non-existent because the ideal value of beam efficiency would be 100%. Yeah, so it's actually pretty much there. And either way, I mean, this customer of ours was actually able to outperform the fiber. So if you thought that the fiber was the ultimate, in many ways, of course, it is the ultimate way to provide internet connection. Just know that even with the wireless internet, you are able to compete and outperform the fiber network. All right, and that would conclude the technical part of our presentation, and we're coming to the promotion.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Thomas. Next slide, please, and we'll take a look at this promotion. So the promotion actually is exclusive to Purdicom, and it's a free twistPort adapter, which is available when purchased alongside a combination of TPA compatible Cambium radios and a twistPort antenna. So the purchase has to be compatible, it has to be with a compatible Cambium radio, but your account manager can manage the whole claim for you directly. So it's really very, very simple. It's a fantastic opportunity, a really good introductory deal. There's no limit to the amount of free units per purchase. There are 3 different twistPort adapters that are available on this promotion. And the good news is as well that it will run until the end of the year. So you've got another 3 months basically to jump on board. And we would really encourage you to reach out to your account manager and get involved. There's the promotion. So I think we've got, some Q&A. I do believe there's one in the chat already. So Adrian actually asks, RFE connections are always RPSMA. I hope I've kind of done that justice. Simon or Thomas, who'd like to answer that particular
I can take
question?
that one. So our antennas, as I said, there is the twistPort version and the carrier class version. The RPSMA connector or connectorized adapter you saw is actually meant for antennas or the radios that we do not have a custom fitting twistPort adapter for. So for example, even the adapter that was shown on the previous slide actually lets you connect the radio without any cables. But yes, the SMA adapter has RP, the reverse polarity SMA connectors on them.
Fantastic. So the first one is here. How far can I cover with RF elements and antennas?
Mm-hmm. Right. So the people who do not know RF elements horns or are starting with them or recently discovered them sometimes are afraid of the lower gain these antennas have compared to the traditional sectors. Because the common thinking goes that, well, I mean, already with the antenna I have, I see a lot of noise, and now I should go to an antenna with even lower gain. Is that what you're saying? Well, yes, we are. But the difference here is that RF elements antennas really suppress the noise. So what you lose, those 1, 2, or 3 decibels of gain you lose, and because of that, the little bit of the signal strength you lose is vastly outperformed and compensated by suppressing the noise floor down. So you're actually will see maybe a smaller signal strength, but the SNR will grow and will grow a lot more. So because of that, I would not worry about the lower gain. And to come to the answer of how far can you actually go with these antennas? Well, of course, there are many parameters the radios have, and there are many antennas we have as well. So if you go to our webpage, rfelements.com, or directly on the landing page on the right side, you'll see the tab saying link calculator. And if you go there, it will bring you to our link calculator, which is a very simple tool, which lets you see and set up all the parameters of the radio, choose any of our antennas, and you can play around and see what coverage can you actually provide. So there is no straightforward answer of how far these antennas go, because it obviously depends on those many parameters. But our link calculator on rfelements.com is really the best tool to figure it out, and actually even plan your network if you really already thinking or planning to maybe give it a go and test 1 or 2 horns.
Thank you.
Could I just jump in there?
Yeah, sure.
So one of the other things to consider with these great horns, which are very good at rejecting interference and noise, is one of the issues that you get on a tower is interference and noise from other directions, which limit your receive data path and therefore limit the range through noise, not just through gain. So what you can often find is you would have a shorter range because you've got an antenna which has poor RF characteristics, and by replacing that with a horn, you would get longer range because of the resistance to noise and interference, the rejection. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Simon. So the next question I think was for you, Simon, I'm not sure. So what gain can I get from changing from a standard sector antenna to an RF elements horn with regards to interference?
So I think from what Thomas just said, that the gain is absolutely the rejection of spurious interference from different angles, not just from outside of the tower, but also from within the tower, and equipment that may on a shared tower may not be within your control. So you may end up with lots of radios on a tower, some of which you are owned by you and controlled by you, some of which that aren't, and therefore mitigating local interference or co-located interference is something that RF elements horns stand out with their performance.
If there are no further questions, I'd just like to thank you guys for bearing with us through some of the technical issues today. I understand the audio has been a little bit choppy, but these things happen. So yeah, thank you very much to our fantastic guest presenters today. Really good content, some fantastic products, and I hope you guys here in the audience have a much better understanding now of all of the technology. As I say, we will be following up, so we'll send you details of the promotion. We'll send you the recording, the slide deck, and we very much look forward to seeing you again next time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you both for having us.
Thank you.